8242, solving multi-step equations with one variable. You're going to take the steps to get the variable alone, and then you'll have to justify the steps that you take in order to have equality to solve your variable. So in example 1, they ask you to solve the equation 3x minus 5 equals 7. Part A says, show the first step towards solving the equation. What property did you use? That property is the property of equality. So we'd start out with our equation, take the simple first step in this problem to get x by itself by adding 5 to both sides, giving us 3x equals 12. We also need to tell what property we took in that first step. That step being the adding property of equality. We added 5 to both sides of the equation. There's that equal sign. We added to the left, added to the right. So it's an adding property of equality. Part B says go ahead and solve the equation, then say what property you use next. So we have the leftover equation 3x equals 12. In order to get x alone, we divide both sides by 3. So we would wind up with x equals 4. And the property used here, well, we divided on both sides, so it would be the division property of equality. Example 2 says here's a solution to a problem. They give you the original problem. They show you the work process as they work down their paper. You need to determine which of the following statements are true. First off, I'd probably start by going ahead and rewriting your equation here that you start with and really solve alongside to see if everything lines up. You're normally in these types of problems, you're going to try to find the error or determine if it is true. First step here, go ahead and distribute. When you distribute your 3, you have 6x plus 15. As you notice, these equations are identical, and then when we get here, there is a difference. Plus 15 plus 5. What happened is they did not distribute their 3 properly. So when you kind of problem solve here, if you look at the examples here, we know that A is not correct. The solution is not correct because they did not solve correctly. If you look at B, it says the 3 was not distributed correctly, and that would be the case in this problem. And you could go ahead and solve the rest of this problem just to double check to make sure other answers would not be possibilities. And we have divide both sides by 6, and we find out x equals negative 1/2. Last question here, 9. Solve the equation below for m. So I'm going to go ahead and start out by rewriting my equation and then get m alone because we have to solve for m. So get the variable m on one side. In doing so, I'm going to go ahead and move mn. So I'm going to add mn to both sides. On the left side, I am left with 3 equals, the mn's would cancel out. I would have m plus 7 plus mn. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of 7. In doing so, I would subtract 7 from both sides. I have negative 4 equals m plus mn. In order to get m alone, in this problem, I cannot add m and mn together because they are not like terms. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and factor, or basically work the distributive property in reverse. So if I factor out an m, I am left with 1 plus n. If you think about it, and you do your distributive property, and I distribute it back in, m times 1 would give me m. m times n would give me mn. So basically what I did is I factored out an m out of each one of those terms there, and I'm still left with negative 4 on the left side. In order to get m alone here, the distributive property is dealing with multiplication, so I need to divide by 1 plus n. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Now, if you look on the right side, I now have isolated, or have m alone, because my 1 plus n would cancel out. I'd be left with m, and I would have negative 4 over 1 plus n. And if you look at your examples here, the only possibility that would be D. This will conclude 4 2 4 or 8 4 8 2 4 2.